Hello guys, this is the first video in factorization. Okay, today we will talk about factoring polynomial, and we'll begin with what do we mean by factoring polynomial. So factoring a polynomial is the opposite process of multiplying a polynomial. And recall that when we factor a number we just put something like, for example, 6 is equal to 2 times 3. So factorization is the opposite of multiplication. So when I multiply 3 multiplied by 2, I should get the number that I have started with. In polynomial, this is exactly the same situation. When I have a polynomial p, for example, and I factorize it to p1 multiplied by another polynomial p2, then when I multiply p1 by p2, I should get the p. So initially I will have p, and then I will factorize it into another simpler polynomial p1 and p2. We have so many cases, so let's take the first case. So case number 1, which is the simplest case, when we want to remove common factor. We just removing common factors. You have to watch the videos, okay? So don't depend on what I'm writing, because sometimes I just cancel some letters, don't write it. So we know that the distributive law, for example, suppose I have x multiplied by y plus z. Okay, let's multiply it. We know from the distributive law that we multiply x by y, and then we multiply x by z. So it's again, we will have x multiplied by y plus x multiplied by z. Now this is the multiplication. Remember, factorizing is the opposite of multiplication. So I will have something like this. عم تفهم علي يا أحمد؟ I will have something like this, and I want to go back to the polynomial that I have started with. So what's the common factor between this term and this term? It's easy. We know that. It's x. So again, so we can take x as a common factor. Sorry, x as a common factor, and we'll get back y plus z. So this is a polynomial p1. This is a polynomial p1 plus p2, whatever. This is a polynomial p, sorry. And this is p1, which is the x in this case multiplied by p2. So let's take an example. Suppose I have something like this. An example here. Suppose I have x squared plus 2x. What's the common factor between these two? It's x. It's obvious. So this is p. Okay? So if I want to factorize it, it's x multiplied by, you get it, x plus what? Plus 2. This is p2, for example, and this here is p1. Now if I multiply p1 by p2, I should get p, and this is the case. Okay, so case number 1 is very straightforward. I have a common factor, I remove this common factor. What about case number 2 now? In case number 2, it's called difference of 2 squares. And remember, if I have something like this, a square minus b square, it's equal to a minus b multiplied by a plus b. Okay, guys? And this is not the case when I have a square plus b square. Remember, this is only works when I have a square minus b square. So I can factorize it into a minus b multiplied by a plus b. Let's take an example. For example, suppose I have x squared minus 9. It's equal to x squared minus 3 squared. So it's the same as a squared, which in this case x squared, minus b squared, which in this case minus 3 squared. So it's equal to what? It's very easy. It's equal to x minus 3 multiplied by x plus 3. So I have a factor, I have a polynomial which is p. I could factorize it into two more simpler polynomials, which is p1 and p2. And when I multiply p1 by p2, I should get what? I should get p. Okay? So now we are done with, this is case number 2. What about case number 3? Case number 3, when we have a quadratic. And what do I mean by quadratic? It's when you have ax squared plus bx plus c. We have, this is case number 3, and we have a quadratic. What do you mean by quadratic? Ax squared plus bx plus c. And we will take, in this case, we'll take two cases. Case number 1, which is a very simple, straightforward case when a is equal to 1. This means that the coefficient of x squared is equal to 1. And I will get this polynomial, x squared plus bx plus c. Okay? So when we get this equation, all what I have to do is these two steps. The first step is to find a number, find two numbers actually, whose sum is equal to b. So find two numbers whose sum is equal to b. And the second step, also the product of these two numbers is equal to c. This is the b here, and this is the c. So let's take an example. Forget about this theory. Let's take an example. Please give us an example. Let's take, let's begin from the inverse, the opposite. Let's say I have this one here. X plus 2, x plus 2, 2, this is 2, multiplied by x plus 3. So x plus 2 multiplied by x plus 3, it's equal to what? It's equal to x squared plus 3x plus 2x plus 6. So as you can notice, this one here, it's equal to x squared plus, add this one, it's 5x plus 6. Okay, this 5 here is the sum of these two numbers. And this 6 here is the multiplication of these two numbers. Okay? So this one is the c. Remember, we have the polynomial, it's a general structure. Now when a is equal to 1 is x squared plus bx plus c. So b is 5 and c is 6. And I get this c by multiplying these two numbers, and I get b by adding these two numbers. And I don't care if this is positive or negative, okay? This is the general formula. So let's take another example. Suppose I asked you to factorize this polynomial. X squared minus, for example, 3x plus 2. What does this mean? I want two numbers. Suppose these two numbers, for example, are R and S. So I want to find two numbers, and I gave them a name R and S, okay? So the sum of these two numbers, R plus S, should be equal to -3, and the multiplication of these two numbers, R times S, should be equal to 2. Can you guess it? Yeah, it's very easy actually. So R plus S equal to -3, most probably it's gonna be -1 and -2. Add -1 to -2, you will get -3, and multiply these two numbers, you will get 2. If you don't know how to guess it, it just solves this system of equation and you will get it, okay? So see you in the next. So if I want to write it, I write it as x minus 1 multiplied by x minus 2. If you multiply these two polynomials, you should get the initial polynomial. See you in the next video.